What's going on, guys? Bob Buskirk here at ThinkComputers, and recently Phanteks introduced their special editions of their Enthoo Evolv ITX cases, and they come in the black and red version, which we have here, and also a white and black version. So let's go ahead and take a look. So taking a first look at the case, this is an ITX case or Mini-ITX case made for smaller form factor builds, which are extremely popular just for the fact that you can build a really high performance system now in a small form factor. And of course, being a small case like this, it is perfect to take to LAN parties. So we're gonna start at the front of the case. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it here for you guys and move it so you can get a better look. So no optical drive bays or anything like that on the front. I don't know when the last time you actually used an optical drive bay, but I haven't used one in a very long time. So nothing like that up front. You do have two USB 3.0 ports and your HD audio connections here for headphone and microphone. Now there is an intake fan, which I'm going to show you in a second, but to actually, you want to get in there and clean it and things like that. So the front of the case actually comes off and it's extremely easy. You just pull up from the bottom here. There we go. And you just pull the front of this off. Extremely easy to do. And then we have our large filter here. And of course that is also removable. You can kind of pull that out. And you have a removable filter here, so you can go ahead and clean it off. When you're done, you can put it right back on. And behind there, we have a very large 200mm intake fan that is included with the case. And once you're done cleaning and all of that, you can easily put everything back on here and get it all, oops, there we go. Get it all back on. And two things I didn't mention, there is a little LED strip right here, and you have your reset button up top. At the top of the case, we don't have our typical, ventilation holes or fan holes or anything like that. They're actually here on the side. So all your ventilation will actually be out of the side of the case on both sides. So you have it right over here. And then if we flip it around, you can see we have it right over here, and it's accented in the internal color of the case. So in our case, that is red. In the white and black case, I believe it will be black. So it looks really, really cool like that. And then one other thing up top, you do have your power button right here. Moving on to the side panel of the case, your normal side panel that shows all of your hardware, of course, does have the larger window here, and it's pretty much going to show everything inside. So you're going to see your motherboard, your graphics card, your storage, and a little bit of your power supply there. Now on the opposite side, we can turn this around. You can go ahead and see that it's just all plain. That's really typical of most PC cases these days. And we'll go ahead and move around to the back here, which I will get in the shot for you guys. So the back of the case, we have more ventilation here. No fans included, but you can fit a 120 or 140mm fan back here. Two expansion slots, of course, so you can fit that larger graphics card in here. And of course, your power supply is going to be mounted on the bottom. With that, you do have another removable filter. This one's a little bit harder to get out, but you can kind of go ahead and get it out right there. So you can go ahead and clean it and all of that. And then again, if we want to put it back in, it's a little bit more difficult, but we can get it back in there. And it goes right back in just like that. Another cool thing that Phanteks has done on this, if you have these thumb screws on your case, and they kind of just damage the case a little bit. They kind of put scratch marks in, especially if you're tightening them really tight. So they put these little washers, these rubber washers on here. It's gonna be very hard to see. Probably really, really hard to see, but they do have rubber washers on each one of these thumb screws on both sides of the case. So you don't, have those scratch marks on there. And again, thumb screws make it easy to go ahead and get inside the case. Taking a quick look at the bottom, we do have 4 rubber feet here, and they kind of lift the case off the ground. So if you have this sitting on the ground, you can have good airflow going under the case. And of course, we have the removable fan filter right here. One thing I always look for when I'm reviewing cases, and I've actually experienced this with a few cases in the past, is that the side panels are extremely hard to remove. Either they're like bent wrong or something, or the steel or the metal is made very badly and it's bent wrong, and it's hard to either take them off or put them back on. With this case, these side panels are extremely easy to take off and to put back on. So I just want to let you know that before we go ahead and do it. So to do it, of course, we remove those 2 thumb screws that do have those rubber washers on them. Take one off, and we'll go ahead and take the second one off. And as you can see, the side panel comes off extremely easy, and we can see what's inside, and we have that awesome red interior here. This red interior is going to match up perfectly with, say, Asus's ROG line, MSI gaming line, and even Gigabyte's gaming line of motherboards. Also, if you're a modder or you're doing something and you got this case before and you wanted to paint the inside, they've actually done it for you, and it looks really, really great. So inside we have room, of course, for that Mini-ITX motherboard. We have 2 expansion slots, as I said earlier. That means you can fit those larger graphics cards inside. We do have some cable routing holes as well. We have a large one here, a secondary one right there, and these both have the rubber inserts. And then you actually have a couple up top here to route, say, CPU power and all of that. Large CPU cutout as well. So if you are doing an upgrade to, say, a better CPU cooler or something along those lines, you don't have to take everything out. When you're doing that installation, you can just, take off the back panel, which we will do in a second, and you can install that CPU cooler. Right here is this really cool mid-plate bracket type deal, and it actually has a Phanteks logo, which actually looks pretty cool. Besides that, you can fit a regular hard drive or a 2.5-inch hard drive on here with the HDD bracket, which I will show you. It's actually on the back of the case. But if you didn't have room back there, or you wanted it to be installed here, you can actually install it right here. And one other cool thing, I wouldn't say it's an innovation, but one really cool thing that Phanteks has done is, say you have a large graphics card, say like a GTX 980 Ti or something along those lines, it's actually going to go past here. So how do you access it? How do you get to the power connections and all of that kind of stuff, especially when you're installing? All you have to do is remove these 2 thumb screws right here, and you can easily just go like that and access those. Just makes it a lot easier. When you're installing the card, you can get it in there, you can get it to fit correctly, and you can connect your power, and then of course you can close it back up, hiding those power connections and all of that, making it look a lot nicer. Also, you can see that the inside of the case is designated into 2 different zones. So we have our top zone here, which I just went over, and our bottom zone here, which you can fit your power supply here. And this does support full ATX power supplies. So if you want to build a really beefy system, you can go ahead and do that. One thing that I didn't mention when we were talking about the inside of the case is there's actually a pull-out fan and radiator mount. And the way this works is you remove 2 screws, which I've already removed, one here and one here, and then there's actually 2 on the back. So you actually have to get into the back of the case to remove it, but it's very easy. Just remove 2 more screws on the back, and this goes ahead and pulls out. And actually you can pull it completely out if you want to. I'm not going to do it, but you can actually pull it completely out. Move it out a little bit more. So what this enables you to do is this enables you to install your fans easily outside of the case, or a radiator easily outside of the case, and then when you're done, you can go ahead and slide it right back in. Just makes it so much easier, especially, Phanteks designs these cases for water cooling. So a lot of people who have those radiators can easily install it and then slide it right back in. Now we're moving on to the back side of the case. So just like the other side panel, extremely easy to remove both of these. So we go ahead, I'll move these screws out of the way, and we will pull the side panel off. Again, extremely easy to remove right there and put back on. So now we can take a look, and we have a couple of things here. First, I'm going to go over the hard drive trays. So there's 2 hard drive trays here, and they pull out extremely easy, just like that. They support both 2.5-inch and 3.5-inch hard drives. So you have 2 down here, and then you also have this SSD mount right here, as you can see. Now, this SSD mount you can leave it here and install an SSD if you want. You can actually move it over to the other side where I showed you, and you can put it over there as well. So you actually have that ability. You can see our 2 cable routing holes right here. Of course, the very, very large CPU cutout right here for your motherboard. So again, you can install those aftermarket coolers without having to remove your board. Lots of room down here to have all of your cabling and all of that. And of course, you're actually going to install the power supply from this side, because you actually have more room to go ahead and do that. And one really great thing about this case is that we do have our tie downs here. So we have our cable tie downs, make it easy to have everything organized, everything nice and neat back here. Of course, a clean case is a good case, and also helps out with airflow and all of that. So you have all of that right here on the back side. So this wraps things up here for our quick overview of the Phanteks Enthoo Evolv ITX Special Edition case. Now make sure you check back very soon on ThinkComputers.org as we'll have our full written review. And remember guys, if you enjoy our videos, why don't you subscribe? Catch you guys later.